Hello guys, my name is Nine and welcome back to another video. If you guys are new to the channel, please consider dropping a like or subscribing, as it greatly helps absolutely everything that I'm doing here. And I'd really appreciate it if you did so. Obviously at this point, you're going to be wanting to know the cost and the upkeep of the base, so on screen now is the cost. 76k stone, 102k metal frags, and 251 high qual. Be aware that I spammed tons of garage stores, so the metal frags cost is always a little higher. Looking at the upkeep cost is a reasonable 15k stone, 19k metal frags, and 57 high qual. Keep in mind, it's pretty cheap for what it is. It's a small group base that can easily be pulled off by a 6-man. So, if you guys have any other questions, please consider joining my Discord or just leaving a comment below. I'll be sure to respond to whatever questions or anything you have. So, without further ado, let's get into a tour of the actual base. Alrighty guys, before we actually go and do the build of the base, we're going to go on a little tour. So starting from any one of our main Satori disconnectables, placing twig here, we'll disconnect it as you see here. Replacing that like this, upgrading it to your desired grade, you're good. There's 6 of these externals on this base, all costing less than 1,000 metal and 1,000 stone a day. Just be aware there's 6 of them, so overall it's really cheap. And as you can see from an outer look at the base, it's a very small compound with a room for furnaces, deployables, whatever you can really fit in here, you're all good. Okay. Flying back in, we'll actually go in through our airlock. So I've opted for this weirder gatehouse, as a lot of people nowadays have kind of been needing actual expensive, well, gatehouses to get through. It also just allows for a few simple peaks like this. You can obviously take off these windows and whatnot, and then put a turret pod kind of in the gatehouse like this. And I'm opting for these very small gatehouses on these kinds of bases. You don't have to do a single door airlock. However, recently I've just been kind of liking the more defendable variant. And then obviously on these other ones, I just have some turrets out in front. So as you guys can see, we have a wide gap shooting floor on this base, pretty good angles. It's a standard circle base, if you couldn't already tell. So overall, it's really simple. But actually going through to any one of our sides, you can see that these will actually be our entrances up into core. But before we actually look into one of those, I'm going to keep running around the base here. As you can see, this one will actually be into starter unit, but before I show that off, we're going to go to our other entrance. So these 3 are just gatehouses with simple peeks out into compound and whatever you want to use. Well, these are bedrooms. You may have seen these on my last base. I've been actually really liking these. They've been really helping me in actual, just like real wipe scenarios. Just having these nice little bedrooms graduated off with flank routes out through here. They're just super useful. And then obviously it's airlock too, so it's just very nice. And garage doored off like so you're all good. Okay, moving actually into the base. So either we can take this ladder hatch, or on the other 2 sides, you guys just put a furnace here. You don't have to use a ladder hatch. But on this side, you have either a ladder hatch up to open core, or a single door airlock into the starter unit in the core. Right away, we have vending machines that are only accessible from the inner part over here. We have our tier 2, a few bags. Obviously, you can spam bags throughout this entire area. However, it looks better without them right now. A little furnace area, more furnace area. You can take over any of these loot rooms for furnaces. I have 2 ramp loot rooms, which are actually honeycombed for those entrances into base. So that would be, on the other side would be the triangle ladder hatch on these sides. I have TC here with our main upkeep. You're going to get about 23 hours on main TC with it fully upgraded. Obviously, you can change some stuff around and get maybe a little more, maybe a little less, depending on how you upgrade, but you get the point. As you guys can tell, the starter unit has an insane amount of storage. 2 vending machines can be accessed through here. I like these especially just for flexing. So if you want to flex some boom down here or just mess with people, you know the deal, have fun with it. And then obviously, just tons of loot space for the starter unit. I wanted to make it super efficient, super simple to build. Every single loot room is actually honeycombed. Even these ramps are technically acting as honeycomb for the entire thing. So every side on this back wall are honeycomb. So it's just a nice, easy, efficient starter that can be thrown up quite quickly. Okay, going back out, or go up our ladder hatch and into our open core. Oh my gosh. Okay, so as you guys can see on the back sides of us, these are either going to be your drop boxes or an extension area of open core. Now, there's actually a little garage door path on every single one to it. So by splitting up your loot at every side like this, you can actually force an extremely high raid cost. So obviously the open core isn't very expensive to reach, but since we've split our loot off by a few garage doors on each path, including the ramp peak turrets and our actual open core like main loot room areas, this thing can get really expensive. So jumping up to here now, you see that we have 3 8-box loot rooms. Obviously you can change these out however you like. However, these are the ways I've been doing it. And yeah, it's really nice. And obviously you get your core peak turrets up there. You have some nice windows, some more simple basic peaks into core. You can also just throw like turrets down the floor if you want to cover even more. Okay, coming back down, we'll actually have our jump up to our next level. This will be our bedroom level. So I like having a mix of obviously those loot rooms / drop boxes below, but up here having these bedrooms are just super useful. So obviously 6 bedrooms because it's mirrored on 3 sides, so 2 on this side, 2 on that side, 2 on that side. So pretty simple, but still tons of bedrooms for everyone on the team. Jumping up to the next level, this will be our core peak area. I have efficiently placed 6 beds here. This is basically the most efficient pattern to get beds and lockers. So you get 6 beds, 6 lockers, 3 turrets, and then 3 batteries. And well, this obviously covers just tons of respawns for your base. We already have the 6 respawns here, 6 respawns on the floor below. We'll actually have 6 more respawns on a roof. So if you are a 6-man, this base just kind of just works for you. It's pretty simple. And then obviously core peak turrets are looking into open core and all that fun stuff. These doors will lead us out onto shooting floor, where you'll notice that we have basically a pretty simple wide gap shooting floor. It's got good peaks around everything. It's got peek backs. There's no blind spots on this thing. You know the deal. I have this nice little door peek behind the turret. That's nice for a weird far away angle. You can also rotate the turret here if you're in a raid defense scenario and you're on the other side of here, and just like open this door and have it shoot out. It's kind of fun to do those things. And obviously you got to have some roof peek ups. So above where the turret is, we have these simple roof peek ups. They're nothing crazy, but they will get the job done. Okay. Coming back around, you'll just see that we have more of the same. Nice little good peaks. You can see all the furnaces down there. Obviously no blind spots. Okay. Going back to the same jump up yet again. You can jump up to roof. And as you can see, it's a fairly simple roof. Just 3 jump ups, 3 roof peek ups, 6 turrets watching the entire thing on top of those little roof pieces, so it's nice and symmetrical. And then under each turret pod, you have a little bedroom. Each bedroom has 1 locker, 1 bed, and 2 boxes. There's a way to fit 2 beds in here. However, as you may have already known from how I do everything, I like a ton of storage in my bedrooms, especially when this is meant for a 6-man. If you can fit 6 guys in here, everyone gets 1 bedroom on every single part of the base practically. So it's really easy and nice to do. And then obviously 3 windmills, 1 per battery, so we're pretty even on that regards. And then one last thing to note, if you are looking to beef up the raid cost of this base and you want to add vending machine bunkers, obviously I don't have them placed right now just to look nice for the cinematics and all that, but if you'd like to do that, I'm going to show the angles here now and before the build. So upgrading this wall to sheet metal, rotating it like so. It did a 6-way mirror, I apologize. Like so. Place your vending machine as close to this wall as possible. And this is a very simple way to do it. Grab twig, and whenever you want to open and close it, you can just boom. These are where they're placed, where they'll be efficient. Apologies about the lag, I'm having some issues recently. Right here. And good. So if you want vending machine bunkers, obviously, like I've shown here, these are console and PC friendly. So just thought you guys would like to know that. Okay? So without further ado, we are actually going to jump into the build base, and I will see you guys there. Okay? Alright guys, before we actually get started with the build, I know a lot of people like to see the footprint beforehand, so this is what we're looking at. So it's a very basic circle-based footprint with squares off the triangles and triangles off the squares. As you can see here, we have some pretty simple wide gaps with gatehouses, and then our mandatory disconnectables. So I'll give you one last look at that, and then we'll actually get started on the build. Okay. So wiping the island here now. I will be doing a good amount of this build with symmetry on, but for the most part, I'll start it with it off. So to start with the starting unit, all I like to do is a square, triangle, and triangle, like so. And this will be our starting unit. Placing TC like this makes it really easy to access later on. You can window or double door this off, it's up all personal preference. And this can be used as our like 1x1 starter unit. Obviously the next thing is to expand into the hex, but for now if you want to add furnaces, bags, whatever you may need in this area. But there's no need to do that now as we're just going to expand the base further. Yeah. Closing this door, we're just going to expand with the simple circle base footprint. And knowing which tiles to actually make into our entrances. Single door airlock like this. And walling and everything. And I'm just going to show a little top-down view of this so you can get the hang of it. Okay. So straight out from our TC room, we're going to have a window. To our left and to our right will be ramp loot rooms. So I'll show these off now. So putting half walls like this. I know this start is a little confusing, but it will be simplistic later. And capping off everything we can. This will just be one big loot room, just tons of box storage. Okay. And good. So let's put some doors and deployables down in here just to get everything good. You can make an airlock just by doing this. You can still get pushed through, but it's okay. I usually like to put in a window embrasure here. If you don't have any of that, you can obviously put wood window bars, but doing this paired with a glass window until I put my vending machines down there is always nice. Obviously you can fit a ton of storage in these, but these two are going to need ramps like so. Like so. And I'm going to be upgrading these right away just to sheet metal, just because you can fit more boxes when you place them like this. At this point, if you haven't already, I like to remove this and get a natural shelf in here. So we get real storage, and then I will garage door off every central piece. And then in the tour, I didn't actually add double door frames throughout this central compartment, but you're more than welcome to add just spam double door frames with garage doors in here if you have the resources. Okay, moving on to here, this will be our furnace area. And you can either double door it off, but I like to use a window. I like to put my tier 2 here. And then I will throw my main bags. And obviously you can spam the bags in the middle, but these are just the nice looking ones. Coming over here, we will do a loot room like such. Staying in the middle here, I like to place a box on either side of me. And then 2 like this. And these are, I'm just doing box placements where it's really easy to access all the loot at like any part of the wipe. I don't like to do anything too fancy where you get tons of storage but the boxes are annoying. I know there's better and more efficient loot rooms. I just like the easy to access kind of stuff. Just like that. Coming down here, placing this box as far left as possible will allow us to get more boxes in, and as far right, box in the middle there, box there. You get one on each side. And same with this one. If you're having trouble placing these boxes as far right as possible, you just gotta place something in the middle like I just did to get better placement, to then get a box in the middle, like so. This one's pretty simple as well. I like to place these boxes first, as far that way as possible, and then I'll place these ones as far back. And obviously, like I said before, just tons of variants and different ways to do this, but pick your own way, do it, and you'll be good. Because like, look, I got tons of extra space in here. Doesn't have to look perfect, just has to get the job done. And this last one. So I know I'm showing a lot of deployable placement here, but I know some people like to ask about it a lot, so I figured it is always good to give a little bit of that. And as you can tell, I messed up a little bit on that top box placement, so I can't place that small box in the middle, but it's okay. It won't really matter. So, as you guys can see here now, this is our full starter unit. We get a ton of box storage and all of that. So, coming out and actually expanding our base now, I'm going to be turning on symmetry. It's going to be 3-way, so I'll show you what I mean by that. So placing a triangle here out this single door, it's going to place a triangle on 3 sides. So I'll go from the top like this. Okay. Flying back down here, we're going to do a single door with a window, and then a triangle floor frame above. Now, if you have ladder hatches and have access to them, great spot for a ladder hatch. Worst case, use a furnace, and then this side will just need a ladder hatch. So it's all personal preference and what you actually have access to at the time. And then coming like this. Okay. Off these other squares, you can just honeycomb this in, like so. And then I'm gonna upgrade the entire roof of this base. Okay, now to honeycomb the triangles. Squares off of these triangles off the top, as you can see there. And I'm just going to honeycomb these fully in. At this point, your starter is entirely honeycombed in. If you have the resources, I suggest upgrading above TC compartment to HQM and sheet metal in the entire bottom core. So I'll show that off real quick of what that's going to look like. And I'm just going to do the back walls because that's really all that's needed. If you can do the foundations at the same time as well. And obviously all these walls are reachable. I'm just doing funky ways of getting to them. So if you can upgrade, like sometimes you'll have issues here. If you can't get these back walls here for whatever reason, like you can't get this, just know beforehand, before placing this window, you might have to upgrade that. So it's all weird stuff, and especially like this foundation. It's not too big of a deal, but if you can't do it, just think ahead. Think ahead of what you need to upgrade and when to upgrade. So obviously if you can upgrade this entire bottom section in sheet metal, it's always good. Okay, flying back up and above, we're gonna keep building. So above this triangle hatch, we're gonna be making a jump up, so like so, to the next level. And then we're gonna be walling in these sections here as our Dropbox loot rooms. I'm using half walls here to get these in. Apologies for placing a ramp. And then ramps like these, just so it's honeycombed on the back wall at least. You don't have to do this, it just adds a little upkeep cost, but it's nothing to worry about. Coming in here, double door frame is gonna go here, along with triangles like this. It's gonna place all three at once, so it's gonna be a little confusing. Just like that. And then like this. Okay. Now coming to this triangle, I like to honeycomb this too high, along with this wall too high, and then placing these walls like such. And now at this point, it's just a basic open core type loot room, like so. So I'll back up and see I built all three at once, so it goes a little faster. Coming up here, I like to place these to kind of cap this all off, along with my window, and then I'll cap off the rest like so. Flying up to roof real quick, we're going to add our floor frames along with our ramps to actually give us what would be our core peaks. And then I will upgrade the necessary walls that you should upgrade early, like such. Coming down here, place your ramps lowered like so. If you're having trouble placing the ramp, check below if you're placing in a weirder spot. So like let's say there is a person below this ramp right here, AFK like this, where I'm standing right now, you will not be able to place the ramp above. You'll need to remove this person that's like where I'm standing. I know a lot of people have questions about that, so I thought I'd make another mention of it. Okay, twig, we're gonna be placing a square right here, and then a triangle through the wall, so like so. There's other ways to do this, but this is the easiest way. Now, breaking that square and placing this triangle in the inside. You won't be able to break this twig through the wall, obviously, unless you left an opening, but I wouldn't worry about it. It'll just decay off if you just take the wood out of your TC. And then upgrading this. Okay, very nice. If you have embrasures, put them, or glass windows, put them on these to obviously seal this thing in. Going to the next level. We're going to place, apologies, I'm on a twig right now. Building up the next level. And obviously you can cap this thing in right away, because these will be our little bedrooms. And then going up just another level, as you can see, it's a very simple, kind of easy follow the design. Good. I usually at this point will double door this off, so I have some sort of like, they can't just walk in obviously from the top. Obviously they have access to these ramps to kind of like look down into your core right now, but you're not this deep into wipe yet. You shouldn't be using this entire open core, so you should be okay. So coming back down here, these rooms will turn into bedrooms, so I just double door these off and it's usually good for me. Coming down the next level, I'll usually garage door off these sections along with these pathways, adding frames in here and double dooring these off. Just by putting splitting your loot in such corners of the base like this, it's just super expensive. And then coming up here, I forgot to place this garage door. Coming into open core, you can place your garage doors on these rooms. Place this properly. And then we'll go through the box placement for this. So I like 2 drop boxes below. You can put a repair bench here. It's always a good spot. Placing the open core loot rooms, you're going to want to pull these boxes as close to you as possible. These boxes, I suggest sheet metaling this stuff now. Placing this as far back and as far right to the as possible and as far left as possible. And then you can place one in the middle like so. Same kind of concept, but it's not in triangles, so it's much easier. As far back and far to the left to make them easier to access. If you're having trouble placing, grab a triangle and place this like so. And as you can see, nice little loot room. And obviously at any point you can upgrade these walls to sheet metal just so it's more expensive to reach a loot room, and same with these triangles above just to make everything expensive. Another thing to note is a great spot for shotgun traps. I know a lot of people sometimes ask about this in my Discord. So a good spot for shotgun traps are these jump ups right here. If you just simply place a shotgun trap here on every side, it's gonna be very difficult for people to get in. And you can just mirror the same thing over and over. So like on the top level, because it'll be a jump up, you know, okay, this will be roof up here where this opening is. You can put another shotgun trap facing straight towards it. And it just makes it super efficient. Okay. And then obviously on these loot rooms, you just place your boxes, but we won't show that. It's pretty self-explanatory. Okay. Going back up, apologies for just kind of wandering right now. We're going to finish our core piece section. To do so, we're going to place a frame here for a double door. So it'll be a double door here. While in this such in, we're going to use half walls right here. I like to sheet metal these right away. And then closing this in as well. Window frame here, I like to sheet metal this one as well if you can. If you can't, it's okay, leave it stone. But like so. Let me grab a embrasure, like so, and you're good. Now, when placing the auto turret for this open core, if you were to place the turret straight on, it's not gonna have as good of angles. So what you're gonna wanna do, instead of placing it straight on like this, you wanna do a slight angle to the side. So I'll show you what that looks like. So instead of placing it straight like this, bring it forward a little bit, and then go as far right as possible. Just a little bit, it's all it needs. And that will give it a slightly better angle, and I'll show that off real quick. So if it was straight on, it'd easily see this, which is obviously good. But just a little bit of angle gives it a little bit, if you're right here trying to loot something, because you have to be right here to loot this turret will shoot you. And then from the other side, this one will shoot you. So it technically has a little blind spot right here, but it's not gonna matter because it can't loot everything. So you're okay. Okay, sealing this entire section off. Gonna use a little more sheet metal just to make sure everything's good. Removing this double door and placing our roof exit. You can either do single doors or double doors, it's personal preference. I like single doors as I always have extra armor doors, end of wipe, and I'll switch these for armor doors. So going like this, everything is good. Now these are your battery spots over here, so I like to sheet metal this entire compartment. Apologies for HQing that, not supposed to be HQing. So you get all of your electrical components in there. And I just like to garage door this off once and then twice. And I'll add garage doors wherever they're necessary, like so. Locker placement and bed placement now. We're gonna be placing our lockers like such. And then I like lockers here as well. For bed placement, we're simply going to place beds as far close to that locker as possible, like so. And then in between, like so. It's really easy to place these beds, as you can tell. You get 6 in here, and they're all slightly edge into the next room, but there's no issues with that. They're not gonna mess with anything in reality, so you'll be good. And obviously you can tell they're just loosely placed. Okay, so next thing we obviously have to do is go on to our shooting floor. So as you can tell, this is an outside look at our base, so I'll give this off real quick. And I'll quickly show how you wanna cap these off, just for the sake of looking a little more natural. Okay. So now to build our externals of our base, off these triangles here, we're actually going to be sheet metaling these entire corners, because these are our main open core loot rooms right here, as you can tell. And then if you can, I like to just sheet metal this as well, because these are our jump ups. You know, do that top one, but you get the point. That is how we're gonna efficiently upgrade. And if you want to upgrade this too, just for sake of looking nice, you can. I'll actually add in an embrasure here. Okay, so off of these, we're going to be building 3 triangles. I'm going to do this out of twig, so apologies for doing this like so. Build 3 squares, 1, 2, 3. Remove the 2 squares in the triangle. Do not remove a foundation like I just did. that wouldn't be the best idea. Okay. Now coming back and forward, we're gonna come back with triangles. Like so. This is the footprint for the external. Now I'll go ahead and upgrade this. You can just sheet metal all these foundations. It's personally what I like to do. Like so. And to make sure the stuff doesn't decay, you gotta place these frames on top. 1, 2, 3. I like to place these two like this. And then these are gonna be our bedrooms. So I like to do a stone right here, followed by 2 double doors like this. And then sheet metal at least this wall, but this would be more efficient. Like that, okay? You can obviously door this off. It's just a simple little airlock. I like to window this off pretty early as well. And then I'll finish off this like this for now. And then this is obviously the preparation for our wide gaps. And we'll have to do the same thing on this side, but first we're going to build our disconnectable. And to do that, we're gonna be building 4 triangles out in twig. Then a square, we're gonna upgrade that one to wood. And then we're going to make our disconnectable by placing a sheet triangle, 1 full wall, 2 half walls, and capping it off with a triangle. 1 stone double door frame, followed by just finishing this guy off. Place your TC in this compartment, like so, and 2 garage doors. Breaking this little twig connection here, and grabbing sheet metal, we can now make it above with sheet metal to inform our disconnectable. Perfect. Okay, so the next thing to actually go ahead and do is build the same thing on this side. So we'll do the same thing, all speed build, so it's always good to know how to do it another time. And then this one, instead of having the bedrooms, you can also just do the bedroom modules. I'm going to be doing this simple module instead. That's going to have a little turret pod in it. And this one has a single door airlock, but obviously you can leave it out and do whatever you want. It's personal preference. And I can stack up to 2 turrets in this section. I'll just glass one of these guys off. And my doors. And coming through. Switching back to twig and making our 4 triangles, followed by a wood square. We're going to finish by making our disconnectable again. Make sure to use half walls. And grabbing our TC and our garage doors. Back in the twig. There we go. And connecting this back to the base like so. And if you want to be technically efficiently upgraded, you upgrade it like that. And that'll be perfect. Now the next thing to place is our compound. And it's a really simple compound to do. It's going to take a little practice beforehand, but if you just look from side to side, you just edge it out slightly to the, you do it very, here, I'll go on the ground to make this a little more fluent. You just look slightly to the right and look, that looks about right. And obviously I'm going to try it once to make sure I actually have the right angle. Just like so, and boom. Super simple compound. It's gonna be 2 walls per section, so it's a just extremely cheap compound, which is beautiful. As you can tell, just super simple. And then to place the metal barricades, I will now sheet metal these tops. Twig, I'll be placing these guys just to give me room to place this. And obviously it's a pretty simple and small compound. I'm just kind of liking these small compounds nowadays. Sheet metal on these guys. These guys can actually be stone. They don't actually matter, so apologies about this. These can actually be stone. They don't have to be sheet metal. It's personal preference at this point though. Okay. And then obviously if you have little gaps like this, it's not going to really hurt you, but if you want to replace your walls at any point, they'll obviously replace like so. Super simple. Apologies, that's got to be twig. And okay. And destroying the twig like nothing was there. Okay, beautiful little compound. Okay, building up our actual shooting floor now. We're building 1 up on this guy, 2 up on these guys, and 2 up on these guys. Now the stone, we're gonna put a half wall with a single door frame and windows on top. Now from the main base, we're going to be placing 2 triangles like such, and 3 triangles off the wide gap like such. Grabbing some double door frames, we're going to be placing some stability here. It's going to allow for this, along with placing our window here. I like to glass window this one off, but I'll also put an embrasure in here so it looks nice. Boom. Like so. Single door here and followed by a turret. I suggest at least 3 turrets on sheeting floor. You can do 6, but it only really needs 3 to cover the entire thing. Perfect. And obviously, as you can tell, it is making more sense as it goes along. Okay, building this guy up the same exact way. There's no difference to these sides. It's just mirrored on every side. So I'll speed build it a little bit. And I'm obviously switching through a lot of options to do this quickly. Okay. Capping this guy off. You don't have to use sheet metal, however, kind of just did. And then placing these triangles like such. Grabbing some stone. We can come through like this and cap these guys off. If you want to add extra stability in here, so this isn't at 12%, but a floor frame right here, it'll actually raise it to about 17. And if you want to add more stability and you're worried about this kind of stuff, you can add double door frames like such. And that'll give it 26, which is awesome. Same thing on this side. You can add your stability and such. Wrong thing, but there, you get the point. So at this point, I will give a little bit of a flyby just to show what it will look like now. At this point, you're technically in a really nice and defendable space, but we obviously want to add our roof bedrooms, roof, you know, like all of our roof defendability. So to do so, we're going to simply grab 2 windows, half wall here. I like to glass one of these guys off, another window here, and then come inside and place roof triangles through the thing to get them like that. Same exact concept on the other side. And we are just kind of going. I personally, in a real web scenario, will put turrets on every single one of these platforms. But if you only have 3 turrets to put on top, the ones that have the little roof peak ups right here are the better side to do it because they have more vision. But if you have the 6 and you need that roof defendability, just put the 6 up, trust me. Now on these squares that are off of main, you're gonna just place roof tiles like such, and the base is finished. Beautiful, right? Okay, now to go along with placing the windmills, you're simply gonna build up 2 high, followed. If I had windmills in my inventory, I would love that, but I do not. Like so, jump up here and place these guys. If you need to supplement more power, I suggest adding solar panels below and then running them through a root divider. It's always efficient. So as you can see, that works very nicely and it looks good. Okay, one of the last things I should mention is vending machines. Like I said before, and I mentioned in the tour of the base, as I don't want people to forget it. If you want vending machine bunkers, there are actually 2 spots to put them that are really good. Number 1, roof is always a good option. Placing 3 like this on a roof, that'll be efficient. That's all you technically need, you'll be good. But if you need more bunkers and you want to increase the raid cost of your base, what you can do is usually there'll be large furnaces right here. So usually I like to place my large furnaces like such. But if you only want to do 3, like let's say you really need that extra bunker protection, and you have 6 furnaces right now, but you just need the extra bunker, I should just moving 3, and actually off these wide gaps, you can add a square triangle at any section, and it's like almost like, I think of this like as an Alone in Tokyo like build out, because he does this on all his builds. And what you kind of do, he doesn't do these bunkers, but he does these little weird build outs, is you can simply grab a sheet metal wall at any point in your compound if you really need it, if you really need the bunker, and this can also act as a shop early game if you don't have your roof up yet. And then obviously same concept as always, you open it like such, it's good. But obviously I'll be leaving these out for now. And we'll just be doing furnaces because they look much nicer. Okay guys, I'm gonna go ahead with the final deployable placement, just whatever random stuff we need to do. So if you guys have not already, join the Discord and ask any questions that you may have about the base. But if you want to stick around and watch how I play some of the more difficult stuff that you may be questioning, just watch the video until I do it. And we'll kind of just go through and do all that. So like here, we're placing the bedrooms and getting as much storage in here as possible. Able to place 2 large boxes and all this. Beautiful. You don't have to put single doors on these, just so you guys know they're not actually necessary. Then shooting floor. I do suggest on a shooting floor, something that would be very helpful is partitioning this guy off by putting double doors like such right here. They don't block any angles, but if you set them up to door controllers, I'll usually set up some really complex electricity in my bases, but door controlling these guys off. So in case of a raid, you can push a button and close these doors on every side, partitioning the entire thing off and stopping raiders from progressing further. It's always a suggestion, but it's not needed. Okay, going back and through here, final upgrades to do is kind of sheet metal everything above and in open core. I like to do these little jump ups as they're kind of important in a raid defense to have your jump ups, along with sheet metaling kind of the roofs of everything. Coming down here, I'll like to sheet metal all this kind of stuff. Oop, a little lag there, so it kind of bugged out. But okay, there we go. Coming down to here, sheet metaling this guy, and then adding in our large boxes here. Super simple. Just gonna place them like this. I'm not focusing on getting extra storage in these spaces. I'm just doing large boxes because they're way easier and way nicer. You don't need small boxes for drop boxes. That's just excessive and kind of a waste of time and space. Just worry about actually having fun on the wipe. So as you can see, everything's good on this regard. I just sheet metal in this window here, adding actual frame here, or embrasure rather, and sheet metal in these parts that I just did there. If you guys are extraordinarily rich on HQM in a wipe, let's say you got like 2 lines, you've already crafted tons of AKs or whatever you're doing this wipe, and you still need and want to beef up your base, I suggest HQMing these 2 back walls like such. And to do so, you can just like remove this box and come up here and you'll be able to upgrade this. But upgrading those 2 walls to HQM is just super nice. If you ever need that, like, you need to beef up the base extra. And same goes with if you really still need to beef up the base, remove these doors and just start adding armored double doors in here and replacing these boxes afterwards. You might get a little less space, you might have to use small boxes instead, but in turn you're going to be increasing the raid cost a ton. Okay. Jumping down to starting it, I gotta find my way in here. I'm going to show you guys how to place the vending machines. That would be right here. And we're also going to upgrade all this stuff that hasn't been. So excuse my kind of frantic run around upgrade. I don't know how that box got placed, but ignore that one. That's beautiful. Okay, so to place these vending machines, you simply remove these embrasures like so. I'll remove this double door for now, just to make it a little easier, and replace this garage door, as you probably should at one point in your wipe anyways. Make sure this is sheet metal. Grab your vending machine and place it. You see the center line here in the middle? You're going to want to place it as far left of that as possible. So right here would be bad. You see that bottom right there? It's not good. You need to place it as far left as possible, as far or as close to the window as possible. So here I'm as far left as possible, like the game doesn't let me go any further, and as far back as possible, or as far to the window as possible. And place it. This next one you want to have the same idea. You don't want to do it as far right as possible. You need to go as far left as possible, intersecting with this other garage door here, or not this other garage door, this other vending machine here at the bottom and through the middle. You can see that. And it's over that central line down there. You see where the little dot is, you can see that. As far left as possible. Place that guy. Turn off broadcasting if you wish. You can upgrade these foundations if they need it. And then, apologies for the little lag there. And then placing an embrasure like this. Obviously still access these guys, and you can flex from these or do whatever you wish. And then I personally like to place a embrasure on this loot room as well. Apologies about that. Or not this loot room, but this furnace room, just to make it a little more honeycombed. Upgrading everything else that should be upgraded would probably be these back 3 walls like so. Like such. And then upgrading these little roofing tiles. And apologies for me just flying in here. There's other ways to get here, as you can tell right here. So those are the last upgrades that I really suggest for the base. Nothing else really needs to happen. If you want to, you can, but obviously as you can see here, jumping in this guy, you're going to have that about 23 hours. If you do the math, it's about 23. And then, yeah, that is about it, guys. So if you guys did enjoy the video at all, please drop a like, sub. It means the world to me. I know I'm all new to this kind of stuff. So without further ado, I love you all. My name is Nine, and I will see you in the next one.